Okay. Okay. This is Hang Tough's first virtual Chalk Talks of the season. And tonight we have Emberlin Caldwell joining us. And Emberlin is from the Fort Smith, Arkansas area. She's currently attending an American Midwest Conference team, which is the Williams Baptist University, and they are the Eagles. So Emberlin's now an Eagle, and it is an NAIA school. So I know that talking to a number of parents, it sounds a little Greek when we talk about different schools because there's Division One, Division Two, Division Three. There's NAIA, and then there's also JUCO, which is junior colleges. NAIA is the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, and it's really geared towards assisting small schools with participation in athletics and helping with funding. So it's just another type of school. There are a lot of private schools that are also NAIA as well, but it's a good like again, if you're attending any college out of high school, you are in the 7% percentile of athletes that are now playing in college. It doesn't matter what size, it's great to be participating in it. And Emberlin had a terrific season last year. She was a freshman last year. She's going into her sophomore season, and she was an academic All-American, which is fantastic. First team All-Conference and Gold Glove Award, as well as Freshman of the Year. So that's pretty stellar start to her college career. And we really appreciate her spending her time. All of our Chalk Talk guests are volunteer basis, and I just reach out to them based on just watching softball sites and so on, and reach out to guests and invite them to come on. And Emberlin was gracious enough to spend her time with us tonight. One other item before I turn it over to Emberlin, and Emberlin, I did mix up the agenda tonight because I know you like pressure,
Mhm.
and that you're good under pressure.
Mhm.
Um, so the virtual Chalk Talks is an opportunity for our players, and we try to create a unique opportunity in Hang Tough to connect our players to collegiate, professional, and former collegiate athletes.
Mhm.
And the reason we do that is that we have a lot of great people that are out there playing ball, and Emberlin knows exactly what it was like, and she's still, playing at the college level. But it's good to give back and to help educate people that are coming up, through sports and encouraging them to play and promoting the sport. So, and we appreciate her time doing that, and it also serves as a great recruitment or recruiting education opportunity for parents to hear from, athletes and for players to hear from athletes about their softball journey. It's all a good experience to talk about how they started playing ball, and maybe they weren't the best ball player at one time, or they had other challenges. And I think every player has challenges that they have to overcome at some point in their softball career, and how they became successful and moved on. And also, what was their recruiting process like? It's all good, even if you're a 10U family, just hearing and getting familiar with the verbiage and what that process is will get them prepared for when your daughter is 14 and starts really getting into the recruiting aspects of playing ball. So, Emberlin, I'm going to ask you here starting off, and it's going to be a little bit like an interview process. Um, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your major in college, what year you're in? I guess you're in your sophomore year. Um, any other sports beyond softball that you're involved with, and maybe a little bit about your hometown high school.
Yes. Okay. So, hi guys. I'm Emberlin. I grew up in Van Buren, Arkansas, which is about 10 minutes from the Fort Smith area. A lot of people don't know where that is, but it's closer to Oklahoma. I'm really proud of my hometown. My softball team was like a family. Our coaches were like family to us, like other parents from home. I loved all the girls. We had a great connection, great energy. Um, Yeah, I go to Williams Baptist University, which is 4 hours from my hometown, and I'm a biology major with a psychology minor, and I want to be a dermatologist after I go to college. So, yeah, I'm very energetic. I love to talk. I love kids, just helping them, helping the youth, because I remember being in y'all's shoes and I understand how hard it is and how the pressure of the world nowadays can really make you feel like you're not good enough. But I'm here to encourage people that confidence is key and you are more than good enough. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. We'll get started here and we'll kind of run through things and we'll make it a little bit just loose and we can talk about some fun things too, and then we'll turn it over to the girls here at the end to ask you some questions because I know they're really excited to talk to you. So when did you start playing softball?
So I started playing softball when I was about 3 years old, and it wasn't very serious, but I mean, I just wanted to play on a team, and I knew that I always wanted to be the center of attention. So I was
Mhm.
always the pitcher, um, even if that was just standing by the coach pitching. But I was on a league team for the longest time, and I started pitching when I was about 10 years old. And me and my dad knew absolutely nothing, but I knew I wanted to be in the center of that circle and have all the pressure and attention on me. So I told dad that I want to be a pitcher, and we just tried our best. Um, and then I got serious about when I was 14 and joined a travel team. So, yeah.
Okay. What was the name of the travel team?
My first travel team was Texas Glory.
Texas Glory. Yeah, familiar with them.
Yeah.
Very, yeah, popular group. So who do you would you say that inspired you to play and maybe your role models in softball?
So, growing up, I honestly never would watch softball. I was I was always on my computer. I was always doing fashion things. Like I was very girly girl growing up. So I never would look to role models until I was about 16, I would say. And I found online, I started doing research about pictures and just reading mental toughness books, and I found Danielle Laurie, and she is a Canadian pitcher. She was an Olympian and for Canada, and they got bronze, and she is just so good about talking about mental toughness and confidence and just owning what you do. And I look to her as an athlete because she doesn't care what other people think. She's just doing her thing. And I think that's how I am too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, one of the reasons why I was attracted to you as a potential guest was that, you had a little bit of a story about overcoming adversity and mental toughness that you've gone through too as a player.
Yeah.
Do you want to share some of your experience with the girls?
Yeah, of course. So
Yep.
growing up, when I first started pitching, again, me and dad were just doing what we could and we didn't know anything. So I wasn't a very good pitcher. If you're a pitcher on here, I'm sure you look a lot better than I did. It was really bad. But all I wanted to do was learn how to throw a strike, and it worked for the most part. But if it didn't, then I got rocked. So, but again, I've grown from then. And when I was younger, my first kind of like league team, when I joined kind of a upper level league team, I was told that I wasn't going to be a pitcher. He was really hard on me. My coach was at the time, and a lot of people around me were just very doubtful of my ability because I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm the most athletic, but I have worked so hard that I can now say that I am an athlete. But again, you don't have to be the most athletic. You don't have to be the most look like you're put together athlete and most talented, but if you put in the work, it's going to outshine any other person who's just naturally talented. So that's the advice I give from my story, because growing up again on multiple teams, I'd say about two teams, because I've been on a lot of different teams growing up, and I had times when they doubted my abilities. They were just not trustful of what I could do in anything, hitting, pitching, if I played first base. People just were really scared when the ball would be hit to me, or if I was on the mound. So I had to prove myself a lot, and now I trust myself on the mound more than anyone.
Oh, that's awesome. Not
Mhm.
letting anybody tell you that you can't do it and always
Right,
working towards your goal. And
right.
obviously you've become a pretty accomplished pitcher already,
Thank you.
yep, yep, which is awesome. Um, and I think a lot of the girls can learn from that because they're still going through that transition too about how can I have more confidence,
Right.
or how does it transition from, I do really well in practice, but I get in the game and there's pressure and I keep striking out and now I'm getting down on myself. And we try to tell the girls to have a memory of a goldfish. So like a
Yeah,
3 second memory, and
that's
then
good.
let it go and
Hmm.
focus on the next opportunity, because you don't want to drag that negativity with you and let it affect your entire day.
Yes, that's good.
Um, so what kind of work ethic is required to be successful? Like, I mean, you didn't just go to practice and then that was it, right?
So I would say my work ethic was a lot different than a lot of people's, just because my dad was very hard on me growing up. And that is a good thing because my dad is like my best friend right now and has been for a long time. And what my mom, and because my mom was a part of it too, she would always, her and my dad would just push me growing up. So I would say when I was in high school, I worked 5 or 6 days a week. And this is not including practice. But after practice, me and dad would go to an indoor facility because we had one for Van Buren, and we would just pitch or we'd hit, and we do extra work because just going to practice and expecting different results is not going to work. You have to do stuff on your own. And I've learned that because I've had times where I won't do something for a week and then expect to have good results and a good outing at the weekend on a tournament, and I would just do awful. And again, that's a learning experience because softball is failure, and there's a lot of things in life that you fail before you can succeed at. So me and dad worked a lot. My dad is my pitching coach. He gives pitching lessons to a lot of girls. But I just think it's beautiful how he's grown from me and him not knowing what to do, and now he gives lessons to many girls. And so he pushed me, and my mom pushed me. They had to make me, sometimes they'd drag me out of the house, but it got to the point where I would tell my dad, I'm going to, let's go work, or it would just be a known thing that we would show up after practice and go work one on one. So it's a lot, and it's not just practicing like your talent and throwing and hitting, it's mental practice too, because if you're mentally tough and you're the most talented kid out there, then you're going to succeed. But if you're not mentally tough and you still have the ability, the best ability out there, but if you are mentally weak, then you're gonna fail every single time.
Yeah. So how did you get over that? Are you familiar with The Winning State of Softball? Like the book?
I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Are there any
Yes.
other like books that you've read, or did you get like a sports counselor or anything like that that talked about mental toughness, and what
So
what helped you?
so basically I there is a book, I don't know what it's called. I'll send you it. It's on my dresser right now actually, but it is a mental tough book. And it's really good to read books like that, but it's also good to practice talking to yourself. I know it may sound crazy when you think someone's talking to themselves, but when you practice self confidence and telling yourself that you are talented, you are gifted, you can do hard things, you are beautiful inside and out, just multiple things to boost your confidence, you will eventually believe it. No matter how self conscious you are, if you will tell yourself things over and over and practice it, then you will believe it. And I used to be really mentally weak on the mound, and just growing up and just making myself overcome the adversity of being told I wouldn't be a pitcher and being told that I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't do that, and proving them wrong. You always want to prove someone wrong. I just think that's the biggest win, is proving someone who doubted you wrong. And your success is just way better than any other gift for them doubting you. So I would say just practice telling yourself amazing things about yourself, reading those books, going over scenarios in a game, just making sure that your talent is there so then you can trust in your talent and just having fun. Because if you can't have fun playing softball, then you probably shouldn't be playing softball. Because softball, still, this is my, I don't know how many years. It's been a long time. I'm 19 right now, and I just live for the moment I get to go and practice and just be with my girls and be with my team and then eventually get to play. Because again, you practice to play good. So it's just so much fun. So again, just making sure that you are practicing that self-confidence talk and telling yourself good things about yourself because it's not cocky if you work hard and you're confident. So,
I agree with you 100%.
mhm.
And we try to even tell our 10Us, even starting off, just you got to have that self-talk, that positive reinforcement that you can do it. You got to believe in it, and you
Yes.
never give up. So, yeah, it, and it's great for the coaches. We got to have good coaches out there that believe in their
Yes.
players.
Because I believe that um, if you believe it, if you just keep on telling yourself and you change your mindset about something, okay, so what I did, for example, on the mound, because again, I can give an example for every position if you're hitting, if you're pitching, but I'll give one for me. So I used to be so upset when I would throw a ball. But again, I grew up and now if I throw a ball, I'm like, okay, I meant to do that. Or if I hit a girl on accident, I'm like, okay, she shouldn't have been there. It's just changing your mindset about the game because when you're out there in your position, you have to believe you are the best person out there and you have to prove it. If you make an error, you just, again, like you said, it's like a goldfish brain. That's a great analogy because you have to uh, answer back to it. You can't just dwell on it because that error can't be taken out of what just happened. Like the error happened and you cannot change it. So just changing your mindset about certain things, if you strike out, okay, well, you cannot think about that or you're going to strike out the next time or you're going to make an error on the field. You can't let it translate over. You have to reset every single time. Something bad happens, you reset. You're in a great mindset. And I think that is what makes the best players accepting failure, but not accepting it, if that makes sense. Being
Yeah.
like, okay, and bouncing from failure.
Hey, you sound like you're coaching material.
No.
Well, you never know. Someday. Um, so what's your favorite athletic memory? Now that we're kind of talking about the adversity and getting over that hump, I'm sure that, some of that success, gives you fond memories that, hey, I achieved this and somebody said I never would.
I'll give one from high school and then I'll give one from college. Is that okay?
Yep.
So I had a lot of good oh, hello.
Yeah, you're there.
Okay. I had a lot of good memories from high school, and of course I had a lot of good memories from college. But there's so many like just good moments in high school because so I would say in high school, my junior year, when we won the conference championship, and that we made history because we hadn't done anything in Van Buren history before our team. And our team was like a family. So I would say when we were conference champions, that would be my favorite memory from that because again, they didn't go to state often. They never were conference champions. They never had a winning record like we did. And I think just from that junior year, transition to my senior year, getting conference champions again, but having the target on our backs, I would say that entire year was my favorite moment because it felt like, oh, everyone hates us, but we love it because hate
Hmm.
away, but we're gonna keep on killing y'all. And we did. we had a great season again. And so I would say that whole entire season and just us conquering adversity. That's a great example of conquering adversity because we didn't care what anyone thought about us. They hated us so much. They talked bad about us in the game and out of the game. And we just it's kind of like we just danced on it. Like it was we
Yeah.
succeeded. We succeeded together. And I think that whole season with the target on our backs was a great one. I would say my favorite um was probably defeating Greenwood. That was one of our biggest rivalries. I have a lot of friends over there, but well, a few, but that was one of our biggest rivalries, and we hadn't beat them for the longest time, and we swept them 2 seasons in a row, and just there was one game where we were down 8-10 because we were both hitting, both sides were. And my best friend Ashlyn, she hit a walk-off home run, and I just remember the joy of all of us just celebrating because it was so close and we wanted to win. And oh, I just remember that moment. I would say pitching wise, I was in a situation where I had bases loaded, no outs, and it was a really big competitor. I don't remember who it was, but it was a conference game. And I struck all three of them out. And I think I really had to lock in at that moment because I could have let up so easy and just, thrown it out the middle, boom, grand slam. You never know. And so I think that was a great example of me showing dealing with pressure and just believing in myself, because if you can believe that you're better than the hitter in that moment, you're going to win. And I had to really believe it for that moment. And for college, I would say the conference tournament, when we had played Missouri Baptist before in our conference season and we split with them. So we were really looking out for blood. In the conference tournament, I pitched this game and we played them again, and everyone was expecting us to lose, and we just were lights out. I mean, we won 3-1, and I remember all of us coming into a pile and just jumping and yelling and screaming. And I remember jumping into Madison Knight, my catcher at the time, her arms, and we were just celebrating. It was just so beautiful because that was the number one seed. That was the team that got to go to nationals, but we defeated them, and it felt so good just knowing that we were better, but we lost earlier in the season, and then we came back, and we didn't care about the failure. We did care about it, but we learned from it, and we learned what we can do from it. They pitched the same girl, and we wanted it more. So
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. That's what you play for, is for the memories and the
Yes.
friendships, for sure.
Yes.
So do you have a game routine, like something that you do during the day prior to the game to get ready? Like you do your hair a certain way, you have something to drink, a certain thing, what do you do to get
So
ready?
I don't really have a ritual, and I've been asked this before, and it's always like in my head, and I'm like, for some reason I've always thought I had a ritual, but then I'm just thinking about it. I mean, I kind of do, but then I kind of don't at the same time. And so I really thought about it, and every single time I played last year, so I did my hair in a low bun. And I mean, it's in it kind of right now, but that's like my thing. And so I did my hair like that. I didn't do it every single game, but I noticed if I didn't do it a game, I felt like I wouldn't do as good. So the low bun was my thing. But during the
Hmm.
conference tournament, I kept the same hair, and it was like it was a slick back with like a dragon braid. But I did something specific with my hair. I did. But before a game, I would always go to, and I still do, go to Wendy's and get a honey butter chicken biscuit, two of them. And then I get a some type of caffeine, more than likely a nutrition tea. But I don't really have a routine. I mean,
Hmm.
I
Just
just, but
kind of superstitious, like
yeah,
it help.
yeah.
Yep. You
And
got to do
I don't
these
know.
steps. Yep.
That's just kind of what I do. I mean, I eat the same thing and I get some caffeine and I'm good to go.
Yep. Yep. Everybody has something different that they do to get
Mhm.
comfortable and get ready for game day.
Right.
So that's awesome. We got a girl on our high school team. She's got to have McDonald's chicken nuggets before she plays, otherwise she's thrown off.
Yep.
And it's just bizarre, but that's her thing.
Yes. And
Um,
good for her.
yep. Um, so what songs do you listen to right now? What's a popular song, and what would be your walk-up song? Like if you had to
Good
pick a
question.
song, what's a good one for you?
So I listen to like a lot of different music. So that it goes from worship to hip hop, it goes from alternative, some rock music, some EDM music, which is like the dubstep and like electronic dance music. I listen to all varieties, but I would say my pitching walkout song last year, which I don't think we did them, but it was a Hawaiian song. And there's something about Hawaiian songs that I just love. And I know that's probably the weirdest thing and the most unexpected answer that you probably would have ever thought of. But I just love Hawaiian music. It's so soothing and it brings me so
Hmm.
much love and joy. And so I chose a Hawaiian song and it's called the Hawaiian Love Song by the Polynesians. And it's just a song from Hawaii.
Yeah, whatever works for you.
Yes, and I love that type of music, but I
Yep.
love all types of music. So
Yep. And I know you visited Hawaii not too long ago too
yes,
on
I
vacation with your
did.
family, and
Yes.
yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Um, all right. So we're gonna get back into here. What's your favorite professional sports team?
Ooh. Oh,
It can be
easy.
any sport.
Oklahoma softball. I don't really watch sports that much.
Okay.
I love a few athletes. I would say one of my other role models is Caitlin Clark. I know that was a question from a long time ago,
Yeah.
but she's hated on so much and she does not care because she shouldn't care. And she's very passionate about the game and people think she's so cocky, but it's really just because she's good and confident. And she has the right to be cocky because she works hard, honestly, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I just admire her and she speaks so well. She speaks so maturely. And I just adore an athlete who gets so much hate and can still see the good and do the good. She does so much good in her community. Um, so her as an athlete is one. I would say I support her team, but I really just support her. And then Oklahoma softball because they glorify God in everything they do and they're good and people hate them. And guess what? Who cares? Because they're still going to be good at the end of the day. And
Yep.
they're energetic. That's how all of my teams have been. Um, they just love softball. They have so much fun and they bounce back. They lost a few times this last year. They bounced back.
Yep. Yeah, they typically have a great softball team
Oh
every
yeah.
year, year in and year
Yes.
out. So yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch, especially during the playoffs
Oh
for the
yes.
World Series. Yeah. Um, so let's get into the nitty gritty here. So you finished high school ball. You play in travel. So obviously you were looking for some place to probably play in college.
Mhm.
So what was your recruiting process like? What did you do? Visit a couple schools to go to their camps and develop relationships, or did somebody just happen to come and watch a game and say, "Hey, look at this kid," or word of mouth? What kind of process did you go through?
So I look at my recruiting process, and when I tell athletes about it, I look at it as, hey, do better than me. Because my recruitment process, it was kind of lackluster for me. I did what I should have done, but I could have done more. But I think it ended up to make me exactly where I was supposed to be. And so I don't regret anything. But what I did was I went on Twitter and I posted a lot of videos. A lot of college coaches now are on Twitter. They're active on Twitter. They see your highlights on Twitter. And I would still email. Yes, that's the traditional way. And you still should practice sending emails because it's very important. And I sent a few emails. But on Twitter, I would tag many coaches. I would try to annoy them, honestly. Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. I would send invites from my travel ball team and I'd be like, I'd send them on Twitter, honestly, or I'd tag them on Twitter. I did a lot of it on Twitter just because that's the new thing basically for recruitment. So if you don't have a Twitter account, I would recommend making one or having your parents, because I know you are young, like, and that's okay. I got my Twitter account when I was like 15 for recruitment. So 15 or 16, honestly. So it was pretty late, but it wasn't at the same time. So I could control it myself and make my own highlights. But putting that effort out there, going to the camps. My college, we do recruitment mostly through camps. I wouldn't say mostly, I don't speak for them. I can't really do that. But I know that they enjoy watching our athletes that come to the camps because it shows the coaches how much they care about our college and how much they want to try to look good and impress our coaches, which I think that's a good thing. You want to just stand out for your coaches. So what I would do is when I would go to a camp, there were some camps you're not going to like. I have many I could tell you I didn't like. And then there were some camps that you could like. And never count any of them out. Don't just go to only D1 schools. Give yourself every single type of division because that's going to increase your chances. And again, I'm not saying that you couldn't go D1. A lot of people could go D1, but they can choose lower schools. It doesn't matter. It's where you fit in and where you feel most comfortable. It's not about division because going to college for softball is going to college for softball. It's a good thing no matter what. And you can get
Yep.
money many different places. And my fit was a smaller school. I knew I needed to be in a smaller school because I could not survive in a big school. So that's why I chose mine. And just showing out and not just being quiet, hyping up the other campers when you're at a camp. Be loud, even if you're not loud. If you cannot be loud at a camp, then show yourself in a different way. Show interacting with people. The coaches love that. They love seeing you as a player, not just as, oh, this person can hit really well. They want to see you as an athlete, a person, anything. So just standing out, do something to make yourself different. Mine was being very loud, very obnoxious, but the team that I'm on, she loves athletes who are very loud, very obnoxious, and that's exactly why I fit in perfectly here.
No, no, that's great advice. Fantastic advice. And that was going to lead me into, and you kind of touched on it. What are the coaches looking for? What kind of, attitude, what kind of body language? I mean, I hear it from college coaches quite frequently that, body language matters. Your attitude in the dugout, we want positivity. They don't want to bring somebody to their team that could bring negativity into their dugout. So they're
Yeah,
they're looking for those players that can make a positive impact.
absolutely. Um, so I would say just again, like I touched on, like you said, I just standing out, doing something to make yourself different from the other athletes because those are the people you're supposed to be hyping up as well. But you are there for you. You are wanting to get recruited and you want to make yourself look like, hey, I'm right here. I'm just what is it called? I don't know what it's called, but someone who looks different than everyone else. You want to make
Mhm.
yourself known. You want to make yourself present. Don't be shy. The college coaches want you to be very confident in yourself and your abilities because I'm telling you, coaches want someone who is confident enough to be on that field because if you're shy, it's okay. You can always grow from that. But they want someone who can stand out because I feel like every single athlete on a college team is someone who has stood out from a team and they made themselves look different. They made themselves known and present. And so coaches look for someone who is one coachable, which means respecting what the coaches say no matter what and listening to them and their advice. Even if you're at a camp and a coach corrects you and you don't feel like it's correct, it's yes ma'am or yes sir. You want to look presentable, and even if it's really hard sometimes, you're trying to get earn money. So
Yep.
think about it like that. I would
And you
say
and you would think that that would be common sense, but it's not.
I
I've
know.
s- I've seen it happen, even in college coach coming to a travel game and watching a player and they make a suggestion and the kid kind of scoffs at them and then they
Mhm.
just scratch them right off the list.
Right.
It's just, yeah, it matters how you react and how you communicate.
Right. And just bouncing off of that, the scratching off the list is very true because you can do one certain thing and they don't care. They will scratch you off their list because there are so many athletes in this world, so many athletes just in this country that they are willing to go watch because you did something that they didn't like. And again, that's not making an error. That's making an error and pouting after or throwing your helmet or having a bad attitude. It's what you do after the error. I remember one story I heard from a coach. They watched this player make so many errors, but every single time they would give it their all and they gave them a scholarship because they knew they were a great athlete, but it just wasn't their day. And college coaches know that. If you make an error and you act like it's the end of the world, well, that's the end of your chance. You have to fake it till you make it because I know it's really hard to make an error sometimes, but softball is the game of failure. And once you get that in the back of your head, it doesn't mean, hey, it's okay, I just messed up, I'm going to do it again. It's, hey, okay,
Mhm.
I just messed up. Now I'm going to do my best to not do it again for my team and just learning from it. It's learning. Everything is learning.
Yeah.
And you can't learn without failure, in my opinion. So, uh, again, talking to those coaches, again, not talking when they're busy or something, but after camp, hey, I'm Emberlin. Nice to meet you. I go to this school. I really enjoy this and this and this. Going to talk to those coaches is really personable. And that's what I did every single camp that I did. I always went and made sure to introduce myself to a coach. Don't be shy because they will remember you. And I went to one camp and then I went back and the coach remembered me because I introduced myself. Was I the best athlete there? no. But I still made an impression. And she was like, oh, yeah, you're the loud one. I was like, yeah, that's me. So just making yourself stand out from the rest.
Yep. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I've got a quick story, and I know that I've gone through this and shared it with some of our coaches before, but we're right down the street from Michigan State,
Mm-hmm.
and Michigan State's pitching coach was talking to her, and she talked about a time that she went down to Battle Creek and she was watching like the state tournament, whatever division it might be, and she went down to watch a specific pitcher that had a really successful season. So she
Mm-hmm.
was on their radar. But the thing that they did not know about this player was how would that player react to failure. They wanted to
Mm-hmm.
see her fail in order to see how she bounced back from it, how she reacted to it, how she treated her teammates. So they stayed at this tournament all weekend long watching her until they got to the championship game. And in the championship game, they had a player on third base, 2 outs, pitcher pitched the ball. They had a pop up out into right field, and the right fielder dropped the ball, and they scored and they won the game. And instead of the pitcher throwing a fit or getting upset, she immediately put her glove down and she ran out to right field to give her teammate a hug
Mm-hmm.
because she was, positively, reacting to it and helping her teammate. And she immediately wrote down on her checklist, she's a Michigan State player. We want her here. And
Yes.
and that's what made the difference. And yeah, somebody's always watching you at all times, and it's important
Yes.
how you react.
Oh, yeah.
So why Williams Baptist University? What made you land there, and what was what drew you there?
So I went and visited some colleges, and I go to one, there's just something missing. And I didn't understand what it was. And it brought me to the point when I was in my living room crying and telling my dad, I don't want to go to college for softball. Like, and this is me talking as I love softball so much. I wanted to always go, but I never thought I'd find my fit. Well, I had an offer from Williams at this time, and I still hadn't visited there. But I was going to visit there, but I was already just so upset and so broken. I was like, there's no way I'm going to find a college. And as soon as I went to Williams for my visit, there was something like you just have a feeling when you know it's the right place you're supposed to be. And I noticed that the girls were so good to me. They were so real. They were so supportive. They were so encouraging. They hyped me up. I love some teammates who can hype me up, have a lot of energy, just be great people and genuine people. And not just the team, but the coaches. They were so genuine. And I realized when I first met them, not just for when I first met them, but for a long time, because I had tried to being getting recruited from Coach Nutt and Coach M for a while, but eventually my junior year of my or going into my senior year, I got recruited by them during the summer. And I don't know, when I stepped onto that campus, I just felt so much love and just comfort. And it wasn't just, oh, I'm comfortable here. I'm just gonna, but it was a good comfort. Like, okay, I feel comfortable enough to stay here for 4 years away from my family and have success. And the coaches were just so genuine. And I could tell that these people were going to be the same people, not just after this visit, not just after this recruiting process, but on the team. They were going to be great coaches, great people, genuine people who cared about my mental well being and me as a person. And I think just finding your fit, it does not matter where it is. Like I mentioned earlier, when you know you're in the mature set of mind to accept, okay, this is where I need to be rather than just, oh, I just want to be D1. And you will be so much more happier because a lot of people who go D1, they're probably meant to be in a smaller capacity. And that's okay. That's how I am. I'm supposed to be in a smaller capacity and I knew I was supposed to be. So Williams was perfect because now I can work one on one with my professors. I can have smaller class settings. I don't have to worry about so many people. Um, it's just really personable. And I'm always for personable connections. So I just think feeling that genuine connection from all the people there and the atmosphere, that's why I decided on Williams.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of players say that they visited this campus and it just felt like home.
Yes,
you know,
that's real.
and that's real. So,
Yeah.
what was the transition like going from high school and travel ball to college for you? Was it immediate success? Because I know that you had a great season your freshman year, or could you see the difference between the talent level from where you were stepping up into the college, collegiate play?
So I would say my transition, I'll go at two different viewpoints of that. So my transition first was honestly very rough. I had a big trouble with transitioning and change. And so when I was supposed to change schools 4 hours away, I'd really um I had a really hard time adjusting. And I feel like that's okay because I always wanted to go home. I was like, and then my parents were like, no, you cannot come home. And eventually, now this is like my second home, and I'm content here. And it's been like that. I met great people last year. Yes, my best friends at the time last year were seniors, so they left, but then I have more friends here, and I have my best friend here now. And so it's a hard transition. It was. And now I'll go as the game and competition standpoint. So obviously the competition's a lot different. These girls are stronger, they're taller, they're bigger, they're women. Like you're
Yeah.
facing some 20-year-olds.
And
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 I
doing
was
and
18.
doing weightlifting and working
Yeah,
out constantly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're tall, they're everything. I'm 5'9", but I mean that's not compared to like girls I was seeing that were 6'2", So um just seeing that transition, it just challenged me to work harder. And I think that's why my transition was not awful. And I think I had really good success last year as a freshman. We didn't get to go to the national tournament, but we did. We were really close. We got to the championship and they haven't been there for a while. And I think that our team dynamic that we had and just working all together, that allowed us to face the hard competition because we had a lot of hard competition. We did. And that failure that we had during, playing those really hard teams. And some of them we could have beat. And it may have been 1 point that we lost by. But again, just battling the adversity, seeing the failure, accepting it because it already happened, and moving from it and getting better. We bettered ourselves last year. And of course, we're doing that this year, but we haven't had spring season yet. So I can't really say much. But I would say just seeing the challenge and the harder competition just again as a challenge and just um a point to be like, hey, Emberlin, work even harder. And so I still worked every single day pitching in the indoor facility we have and just doing extra work. So honestly, it was harder, of course, but I worked harder to conquer that.
Yeah. What's your favorite pitch?
Right now it's my rise ball because I can throw it for a strike or I can throw it for a chase pitch.
Okay. Awesome. It's always good to ask a pitcher what their favorite go-to is. So,
Yes, I love that question.
so we're coming down to the end here. I've got two more questions, and then we're going to open it up to the group. What are some of your goals, both athletically and academically, at Williams Baptist University?
So, of course, I want to finish with a 4.0 GPA. Um, I want to do really well in my classes. I study really hard and I work really hard in the classroom as well. So, I think I'll be okay there. Um, but athletically, I want to go to the national tournament, and I still think we can do that this year. We have a lot of talent. And one of my best friends, Natalia Watkins, she plays on our team, and this is her senior year. And it's just really sad because there's no way that we can't go to the national tournament, especially it being her last year. I couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
then our assistant coach, not our assistant coach, she's she's kind of like a student coach or assistant. Her name's Madison Knight, and she and I played last year, but now she's in different in a different point, and now she's helping our coach's coach, and she's a student assistant, and it's just I want her to have this since we didn't get to do it last year. So I just want to do it for my girls. I always want to do it for my team because that's a bond you can never break, just a teammate bond, and I just want to do it for us and our team last year because we could have gone last year, and I want to do that this year for everyone, this team and last year's team. So I want to go to the national tournament, and I want to do well because I feel like we can do well.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like it. Be interesting to follow you this season and see how you guys do. That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
Um, so the last question here before I open it up to the group, what's next for you? You know, life after softball, what do you want to do, after college is over here?
So I have to go to physician's assistant school after college, and I'm going to be there for 3 or 4 years, and because that's what I want to do for dermatology. I want to be a physician's assistant dermatologist. So I'll be working with clients, skin, many things like that. A dermatologist is the doctor who deals with skin and etc. So just for because it's a hard word. So yeah,
Hmm.
I want to be able to be a physician's assistant so I can talk to the clients. I can really understand what they mean, and I love talking to people, and I'm just a people person. So I want to be able to really make these clients feel better about themselves, and because I feel like that's one of the main things I love to do in life is make people feel better about themselves and just boost them and hype them up because I mean we're all struggling, like like just making someone feel better about themselves, especially as a doctor and seeing patients every single day, but seeing their process and their progress, feeling better about themselves from what I give them and medications. Yeah, so that, and then I probably will end up doing something softball related after as a side hustle or just going out to my community uh because I love it too much just to stop it after college. I don't see myself
Yeah.
playing after, but I do see myself doing something in the softball community. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And you can tell that you're going to be really good at,
thank you.
working with people. I mean,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, you're very good at communicating and going through this and you're already helping the softball community by giving back today and talking to these girls. So we really appreciate it.
Of
And I think
course.
it's a really important aspect to talk about because there is life after softball.
Yes.
And I know a lot of girls they go through and even when they finish, say, just travel ball, high
Mhm.
school travel ball, there's a void left after you stop playing, wherever it's at in life, and you got to fill that void. And there's a lot of ways that you can give back, to help people, and it's really a fulfilling thing to help others and
Right.
get to that next level. Seeing these girls go off to college, uh, I can care less if they're going to play ball in college. I want to make
Right.
sure that they go to college.
Right.
That's the most important thing. And being a good student is number one over playing softball.
Oh yeah.
And then you were a great, obviously a great student in high school, before
Thanks.
going to college. So, but yeah, sharing things like this with the girls, it's a really positive thing, and we really appreciate your time tonight.
Of course. Yes.
So we're gonna open this up for questions, and this is the rule here. We're gonna stipulate up front that we're gonna ask questions one at a time, and once you ask a question, please wait your turn and let somebody else ask a question before you ask another one. So just so that everybody gets a chance to talk to Emberlin. So we'll go ahead and we'll start and just unmute and you can ask a question here.
Say something. Go ahead. Say something. Ask your question.
Um, have you traveled anywhere to play softball?
Yes. Okay, what's your name?
Stevie.
Hi, Stevie. I'm Emberlin. Nice to meet you. Yes, I have. Thank you for asking a question. I have traveled. The farthest I've traveled was Australia, and I went to Australia. I know, I know, it's so far.
Good
And
luck.
I played softball there, and played on a Team USA team, and I got to play a lot of people. I got to play people from New Zealand, from Ireland, from so I know there's so many different types of teams. And it was just cool. And we got to play people from Australia too. And that was one of the coolest experiences. I got to hang out with some kangaroos, some koalas. And the thing was, I traveled there by myself and I didn't know anybody. So my team, I didn't know who they were, but I ended up being really close with them and I made really good friendships with a lot of them. So that's the farthest that I've traveled. And I've also been to Colorado for the sparkler, and that was a really cool experience. And I met some people from Germany as well over there.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering my question.
Of course, Stevie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Stevie's one of my 10U players.
Oh.
So, yeah, very cool. Next question.
Go ahead. What was your other position besides pitcher?
What's your name first?
Callie.
Callie. Hi, Callie. Nice to meet you. Okay, so I played first, but I wasn't very good at first. And I really focused on pitching because I knew that I wasn't the most talented. So I had to work really, really hard and I wanted to focus on one thing. But in high school, I did hit and I hit dingers too. So I would play first if I wasn't playing pitcher. But I wasn't really good. But my dream is to start my life over if I could, and I'd be an outfielder because I love diving for the ball. So yeah, but I've always been a pitcher or a first baseman. But if you put me anywhere on that field, I will try my very hardest. Thank you, Callie.
What is your favorite pitching drill?
What's your name?
Amaya.
Hi, Amaya. What was your question again?
What is your favorite pitching drill?
Okay, so my favorite pitching drill is the Superman drill. And it's where you take both hands back and you're balanced on your, let me see, is that my drag leg? So not the one you launch out with, I'm a righty, but you're balanced on your drag leg and you go back with both arms and you take your launch leg back too, kind of like Superman, and you launch out and pitch the ball. So this for me creates a lot of stability and it's good for timing because timing is very important as a pitcher because if your mechanics are off and your timing's off, then your pitch is probably going to be really wonky. So I've dealt with that. So I would say doing that, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does. So just going back with both arms and then your leg goes back and then you push forward and you're trying to launch out as far as you can.
That was a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you, girl.
What's your favorite school subject?
So right now, my classes are pretty hard because being a biology major is really hard. But I would say my two favorite subjects, they're not biology major related, so but they are abnormal psychology and philosophy. So I love abnormal psychology because it's so interesting to learn about how crazy and weird people are mentally and just learning a lot. I love learning about humans and just how they work and how their brains work. And so I would say that's a really fun class and I love my professor there too. And then I would say philosophy because it's a lot of thinking. And I remember the first day he asked me, what is a chair? And I told him it was just a wooden object with four legs. He was like, but not all chairs are like that. And then you really have to think, what is a chair? And it's just a lot of thinking in that class. So I love that. And we have really cool people in that class too. So it makes it really fun. But I just love sort of classes that make you really think. So those are my two favorite right now. And what's your name?
Leah.
Leah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, we have another question out there.
What made you love softball?
What'd you say?
What made you love softball and what's your favorite position besides pitcher?
So are you Jacqueline?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. My camera's being weird. Okay. Hi, Jacqueline. I love softball because it's like a release for me. And what it made me realize was when I started doing it and practicing it, it was somewhere that I could be. Hold on. It was a place that I could be either at practice and in game, doing drills, where I could just forget about everything and just focus on this sport. And I love the thing about softball. Another thing is that it's more than just a sport. It's life lessons. I mean, you have to live with failure every single time you're on the field. And I think learning from that and boosting your self-confidence, if I didn't have softball, I don't believe I'd be as confident as I am right now. And so just allowing the sport to translate to everyday life is really important to me because it's just an amazing sport and it can teach you so many life lessons, and also the community that it has, because I get to talk to people like you guys and I just love that so much. That makes me so happy because y'all are going to be some ballers. So yeah, I love that. And my favorite position other than pitcher, so I'm not good at it, but I wish I could be in the outfield. Like I said earlier, like I wish that sometimes I would just be an outfielder because they dive and they get to run and have so much fun. And so if I wasn't a pitcher and I started over, I'd try to be an outfielder because it just looks so much fun. I love my outfielders, so yeah, I'd probably do that. But thank you, Jacqueline.
You're welcome.
We have another question.
Do you have a favorite jersey number? And since it's that jersey number, is there a certain reason why it's your favorite?
What's your name?
Haley.
Haley? Okay, nice to meet you. So my jersey number right now is number 4. And there's no specific reason for that, honestly. But it used to be number 3. But there was an upperclassman who had the number 3 when I came here. So I'm still trying to decide if when she leaves, because she's a senior this year, and I wish she wasn't because I love her so much. But if I'm gonna take that number next year, but I'm not really sure. 4 doesn't have a specific meaning. It was just the closest thing to 3, but that was my original number. And I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So when I was in, I think it was 5th grade or 7th grade, it was 7th grade or 6th grade. I was playing softball and I didn't know what number I wanted to be. Well, I was in the process of choosing, and this boy I really liked, he was always number 3. So I wanted to be number 3 because of him being number 3. And I just stuck with it the rest of my life. But honestly, there's so many things you can make great out of the number 3. I think the best things come in 3 because I'm a Christian. So the Trinity is God, Father, and Holy Spirit. And that's 3. I don't know. There's just so many good things of 3. And it's always just been a part of who I am. And yeah, I mean, I know that's a silly story, but that's honest to God why I picked number 3 because that boy had it. But yeah, thank you for your question. That's a good question.
You're welcome.
That is too funny.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah. I think Lauren, you had your hand up.
Have you ever had any injuries?
Hi, Lauren. Nice to meet you. So I have, and I'm actually dealing with one right now. So I've been very gifted to not be that injured, growing up, but I would say this one is probably the most annoying, and I've been dealing with it for a while. But it's a nerve damage in my arm. And so when I pitch, sometimes my fingers actually go tingly and numb, and sometimes I can't feel my hand. And I dealt with it all last year, and it was a really big struggle. And it's kind of just like I'm getting by, but most of the time, if I go to the doctor, I am told I'm not supposed to pitch anymore, or I'm going to get surgery, and the surgery is probably not going to work anyways. So it's a really difficult injury that I'm dealing with right now. But at the same time, I love softball so much that I'm just pushing through, and I don't think I could deal with not pushing through, honestly. I think it would make me go insane if I got a surgery or something, but it's really hard to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. And it's something that I get upset about sometimes because injuries are really difficult. When you love a sport and you can't do it and you're watching everyone else do it because you're hurting, um, it's really hard. But I just push through it and I take some medicine. I put some KT tape on. I work with my athletic trainers to do the best I can just to make it go by for the 4 years I'm here. And it's really hard. But again, I just push through the best I can. So yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Griffin?
So I know you were talking about like your fingers would get numb and tingly
Yes.
sometimes when I run or like when I have gloves on, like the tops of my fingers get like tingly.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird. And like, do you ever like? I know I know you always say to be confident in yourself,
Right.
but what if you mess up in front of the coaches that you're supposed to? Have you ever messed up in front of the coaches that you're supposed to try out for the team for? Like a
So-
really high team?
Right. Have you are you talking about like an error or like is that what you're talking about, like messing up like that?
Yeah, like
Okay.
messing up a lot.
So I'm gonna give you an example. I'm not gonna tell you what camp I was at because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like this team. This camp was one of my favorites, and that's okay. You're gonna go to some camps that you're just not gonna love, and that's okay. This was one of them. Well, I had to line up, and I was the first one in line. And the coach said, "Oh, it'd be so funny, but don't do it." We had this really, really high net, and what we were supposed to do, we were supposed to throw into it so they could get our arm speed and our velocity of our throwing, just see how fast we threw, and like overhand. And so I just was a pitcher, so I mean, I knew this really didn't this mattered, but for some reason I was the one. But anyways, the coach said it'd be really funny if someone threw it over the net. That's the one thing y'all can't do. That would be insane. Guess the first person who was me, guess what they did? They threw it right over the net. I threw it over the net, and I was just looking at the coach, and yeah, it's really embarrassing, but you know what you do I just started laughing. I was like, I don't know what to say. I literally just looked at him, I just started laughing as I don't really know what to say. And that's okay. I've had many moments where I've also been at camps and I'm pitching. Usually I do really well in the camps. We prepare a lot leading up. That's just one thing to help with failure. But again, the coaches sometimes want to see failure at camps because they want to see from it, like we were talking about earlier. Just seeing what you do after. And of course, it's not you just laughing and haha, oh well, that's over with, whatever. It's okay, I'm gonna do better from it next time, and not showing any bad emotion, And again, it happens. You're gonna make errors. And the coaches know that. And if they're not good enough coaches to realize that people make errors, then they probably shouldn't be coaches, because every single coach out there who's a good coach realizes that errors happen and it's okay. Our team, we do really well, and we still make errors every day in practice. And it happens. Things happen, and coaches know that because we're human. We cannot be perfect. But I've had many moments where I'm pitching and someone hits a nuke off of me in front of big coaches that I'm really wanting to watch me, or even the coaches that I have right now. Like when they come to watch me and I do bad or something, like it happens, but they know what you truly can do. So just try not to worry about it, and you stay confident, because that's what they love to look at. They love to see how you react after.
Thank
This is-
you.
You're welcome. And
Yep,
because
that was
I've
a good
worked,
question.
it was a really good question
Yep.
because I have messed up many times in front of coaches. I've messed up in front of Mike White. The Texas coach, University of Texas. I messed up in front of him, and he like it happens.
Yeah, I understand.
Good. Thank you for your question, girl.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
So we're gonna do. Let's do 2 more, or I know we got. There's 3 questions here.
That's
We're gonna
okay.
do these 3. So Leah, Reagan, and Cooper. Yep. And
And
yeah.
if there's any more, that's okay. I'm here
Okay.
for y'all.
Yep. So let's get these 3 in, and then I'm gonna give out the playmakers that gift card, because I know it's getting late and it's a school night. So go ahead, Leah.
Have you hit a home run, and if so, how old were you?
So honestly, I did hit a lot of home runs in high school. I hit an average about 8 every season. And I hit a lot in travel ball as well. So I have quite a few home runs actually. My swing was probably the ugliest swing you've ever seen in your life because I didn't use my legs, and it was just but it was my swing, and I tilted my bat back, kind of like, here's a good example. I tilt my bat back like this. So it's a really funky swing, but I honestly, I'd hit home runs. I would. And I hit really well in high school, and I hit really well in travel ball as well. And yeah. And I think I hit my first home run when I was 14, 13, 14 or 15.
Yeah. Not a lot of pitchers get to hit. So that's
Nope.
yeah. So that's great.
Yes.
All right, Reagan, you have a question?
Hi, my name's Reagan. I keep
Hi.
a cross in my back pocket during every game. Do you have a good luck charm?
Aw. Well, hi, Reagan. I love that you do that. Um, so I actually don't have a really good luck charm, but I do in a way. So I had for the longest time, I wrecked my car, but in my car, I had this octopus, and I used to bring it around every single time that I would play. And it was like a beanie baby. You know what those are? Like the beanie babies, and they have like the big eyes. Well, it was a small octopus, and I had it in the front of my car, and every single time that I would bring it in my bag, I felt like it was good luck. So I need a new good luck charm, and that reminds me. So Reagan, I will try to get another one just in honor of you. But it used to be that octopus, and that octopus has been through a lot because it was in my wreck, and I still have it here somewhere. But yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. But also, I do have another one. I just remembered. For the longest time, do you know those Pez candies?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I had a Batman one, and I would put it in my softball bag as well. So that was another good luck charm I had. And every time I had it, I'd just put it on top of my bag during our games, like it was watching us. And that was kind of a good luck charm too. So keep having your good luck charms, because if they work, they work. And I've had many in my career. So yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. And then we got Chrislyn Cooper.
When you talked about your recruiting process, you talked about like posting stuff and stuff, but like and emailing coaches. But besides for like emailing them, what else can you do if you don't have social media?
That's a really good question. So if you don't have social media, I would say playing in front of those coaches, because social media is how a lot of those coaches interact nowadays and how they see your stuff. And I know it's really hard because it's good that you don't have social media. If that's your, do you have social media? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay. See, that's a good thing you don't have social media, because social media is a, I would say it's an awful place at times. But for recruiting, it was what helped me. But I would say going to those camps, being personable with those coaches, that is just about what's going to do it, other than for, um, playing on your team and playing in front of them. So going to like showcase camps or showcase games, just things like that, and putting yourself in front of those coaches, showing your talent, and etc. So that's what I would say the best way to do it is. other than having social media. And if you're not allowed to have social media, I would ask your parents, hey, can we set up a Twitter account and just strictly have it and you guys manage it and we can just make highlight videos. And because they want to watch them, and then you tag those coaches and so they can see it online, because coaches like to look through the videos, and if they're short highlight videos just of you doing good, they can see your talent. It's just the same thing as going to a camp, so don't be panicked if you don't have social media, because again, it's a good thing. But just going in front of those coaches any way you can, camps, games, showcase, anything, just so they can notice you. And yeah, I would say that's about it.
Okay. We're gonna try to get 2 more in real quick, ladies. So these are the last 2. Olivia Bertley.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Olivia, and my question is, how does the strategy change when playing fast pitch versus slow pitch softball?
Hi, Olivia. So thank you for your question. I honestly have never played slow pitch except for one time. And so are you talking about like underhand slow pitch, like what like the church leagues do? Or are you talking about slow pitch like faster pitchers and slower pitchers?
Faster and slower.
Faster and slower pitchers? Okay. So for growing up, I saw a lot of slow pitchers, and then occasionally you'll get like a fast pitcher. So honestly, now for us and our team, it's harder to hit slower pitchers, which is so funny because you think when you get older, uh, you'll be able to, oh, I got the slower pitchers so easy. But when you get older, you'll see faster pitchers. And honestly, the more games you play and the more people you'll face, the speed will slowly get faster. So that transition, honestly, is just how you work. So if you do T work, that's great. And then doing live arms, so seeing pitchers pitch to you who are faster and getting your hands around, because all it is the speed is just getting your hands around faster, right? So again, once you get older, you'll start worrying about spin from pitchers and etc. There's a lot of things that go into hitting. But right now, I would just worry about getting your hands faster to the ball. And it's not a huge transition, but if you work hard and practice your hands faster to faster pitching, then it's going to work out. But it wasn't a big transition for me, because you're going to see slow pitching and fast pitching all your life. When I'm still in college, I still see some pitchers who are slow. So
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to make that adjustment.
it is
Going from fast to
very hard.
slow and slow to fast. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank
All right,
you.
we've got yeah, great question. So we've got one more is an 18U player, Kayla Winters.
Hi, I'm Kayla, and my question is like, if you were to mess something up and it like dropped your self-confidence, what are some ways you could like boost your self-confidence like by yourself in the
So
middle of
give
a
me
game?
an example. Give me an example of messing up and dropping your self-confidence.
So, say like you mess up in the field or you strike out at an at bat and it just drops your self-confidence because you really needed to get like make the play or hit the ball and it just drops your self-confidence. What are some ways you could like help boost yourself back up?
So that's a really good question, because that's a lot of things that athletes, even my age, struggle with. So, for example, I've been in a situation, and tell me if I'm kind of away from what you're talking about, but I think this is what you mean. So, I've been in a situation where I could tell you that I lost the game, and I truly believe I lost the game, but the score was 1-0, right? So, you're probably thinking, okay, well, that's a really close game, right? But I still had so much care about the sport and put all the weight on my shoulders that I believed it was my fault. But again, you have to realize it's a team thing. So the self confidence can come from, hey, okay, this isn't my fault that I struck out. I was the last person to strike out in a 2-1 ball game, and I could have been the hit. Your team and you should have done stuff earlier in the game to achieve that. Because what if it was 5-2 and you struck out? It doesn't matter, right? So it's just realizing that it's a team effort and you cannot put all the blame on yourself. It'd be different if this was a one-on-one tennis match and you're the only one playing. Because yeah, if you lose, it's because of something you did. But again, you strive for success meant from learning from your failure. But the thing is, if you just strike out once, or if you strike out the whole game, your team is supposed to be there. That's why it's a team sport, so they can pick you up. Because I've had times when I was low and I had people pick me up. And I've had times when many of my teammates were low and I had to pick them up. So it's just realizing that if you have failure, it's okay, because it's what you do after. It's how you respond to it. So it doesn't matter if you strike out. Everyone's going to strike out, and no one's going to remember that in a week, in a day, a few hours, because I promise you, all of your teammates, or if they're good teammates, and I bet they are, thinking about what they did. So if I'm in a game and I'm thinking like, crap, I lost the game, I'm thinking about what I did. But my teammates may be thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't hit, So just realizing that if you're doing this for your teammates, you have to snap back, and just training yourself. Hey, I made a mistake. I need to snap back, and I need to fake it till you make it. Because once you learn to fake it till you make it and act like you're okay after, because of course it's upsetting to strike out, but it only means that you care. So you being upset shows that you care so much about the sport and you care so much about what you did that it makes you upset when you strike out. And that's okay, because you care. But responding after is something you have to train yourself and you have to practice. It's just like practicing to hit better. You have to practice your mental capacity of just believing in yourself. And I've had to take a lot of time just being with myself and just lying to myself like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Because I don't feel like sometimes it's okay and I can make myself go insane. But why choose the path of going downhill and tearing yourself down and making your teammates feel down because you're upset? Because if one teammate's upset, it's going to make you upset because you're like, why are they acting like that? You don't want to do that. You want to choose the uphill battle of, okay, I need to figure out what I need to do and I need to try it again next time. And if I fail again, I'm going to try again next time. So never think of what you just did and just bounce back. Teach yourself to bounce back. Tell yourself good things about yourself the entire day before, the entire week before, and you will eventually believe those things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I've actually got two more quick ones. So Anaya has a question. She would like to ask a question. Let's see here. As a catcher, what can I do to help my pitcher?
Okay, sorry, my dad was calling, so it kind of glitched out, but I think I'm back.
Yep.
So that is a great question. So as a pitcher, I have been pitching and catching with my best friend. She's here this year. Her name's Ashlyn. And so the best thing that she does is encouragement. And it's talking the entire time. Knowing that I have a catcher who can read my mind and I'm personable with them makes me feel so much more comfortable. That is the person I want behind the plate because they know me better than I do sometimes. I'm telling you, if we're calling pitches, we just read each other's mind. It's a beautiful thing when you have a great relationship with your catcher. So developing that relationship outside of softball, first of all, it doesn't mean you have to be best friends with them because sometimes I understand you don't want to be best friends with certain people, but realizing this is your teammate, you two are very important. And if you two aren't on, then it's going to be really hard to win. So just developing that relationship, encouraging them every single pitch, because some pitchers strive and just thrive off of encouragement from their catchers. And if the whole entire team isn't talking other than the catcher, it means so much more because if in reality, the pitcher's just pitching to the catcher and that's who they should be really focused on talking to. So the only person that I'm focused on during the game is really just my catcher because it's just supposed to be me imagining us. So when she's talking and she's like, hey, that had really good movement or good pitch. And it's the same thing for a pitcher to a catcher because I hype her up and we get really excited when we make really good plays and we just have so much fun together. So having fun, being effortless, and just knowing you're in control of the whole entire game because you two are the only ones doing something the entire time. So you're very important. And since you're already doing something the entire time, it won't take much more for you to be talking the entire time, encouraging the entire time, because that encouragement from Ashlyn, my catcher, means so much more than anything. She just talks the entire time and it makes me feel better. Especially like if I'm like, because I pitched something and I thought it wasn't really good. She's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. like just talking, encouragement, and then honestly talking in between innings, like being like, hey, did that miss, or did I actually pitch that really well? Just something like that. Just continuously having that relationship, continuously communicating. It's going to build your relationship. And me and Ashton will always known as the duo. And that's what you want to be known as, because we just had such a connection and just such a relationship that we can like just created from our energy and our hypeness and just encouragement. So you want to be like really, really close, even if it's just on the field, just hyping them up the entire time. Even if you have went over 3 as a catcher, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to make your pitcher feel like a princess, and I'm supposed to make my catcher feel amazing. It doesn't matter what's happened, if with her hitting or if I hit or anything like that. You want to encourage them because it's a very important job and role that you two have.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then the last one here, Malia, you had a question?
May I ask my question?
Is this Malia?
No.
Who is this?
Yeah, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie. All right, ask a quick question.
What's your favorite thing to do outside of softball?
It's a really good question. Nice to meet you, by the way. My favorite thing to do outside of softball is probably write. I love writing. I plan to write somewhat of a book someday because my dad always encourages me to. He's like, I'll read it. But I love writing. I think it's so beautiful, and just because I like to read. I haven't been able to read a lot lately, but I just think it's so beautiful how people can translate things of this world into like on paper and in writing, and just seeing everyone's creativity come out. I also like hiking. I like doing yoga. I love stretching. I stretch a lot. I also I just love shopping. I know that's so crazy. It's such a girl thing, but I love to shop. It's honestly a therapy to me, just to go retail therapy, shopping, and just looking around, even if I don't buy anything. But I love things like that. I love being with my friends. I love eating different things. I eat a lot of different foods. Hiking, just things like that. So that's a really good question.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, it's Malia from
Hi.
Crave. How did you get better as a pitcher?
So, it took a lot, because I was not very good. I was really bad, actually. I wasn't really good at all, but I worked really, really hard. I was out there 5 times out of 7 times of the week. I was always practicing. I was trying to be the best because I knew I had a goal. I wanted to do something when I was older, and I didn't really know a lot about college softball and recruitment when I was younger, and I was just starting pitching, but I always knew I wanted to be good at this sport, and I wasn't very athletic. I don't know. It was just a weird time. I wasn't a very good athlete, and I wasn't really good at any other sport either. But I worked really hard because I saw the potential in myself, and my dad and my mom believed in me, and they just showed me so much like belief and just fire. They lit a fire under me to be motivated to want to be the best. And I knew that when I was younger and I was doubted by a lot of coaches, and a lot of coaches told me, they were like, you're not going to be good. It honestly, it made me upset at first because I was really young and I didn't know what that meant. And them telling me those things really hurt my feelings. And sometimes I would believe it. But then as I got older and I got more mature and more confident, I realized, okay, that's just not the truth. And I put that under my belt, and I used it as motivation to be like, okay, you think I can't do this? Well, I can. And now they see that I can do this. And it's really good it's really fun when you are doing well in a sport. And so me working hard allows me to have fun in a game. And I would practice outside of softball. I'm telling you, 5 days a week. I just worked really, really hard. So doing that, developing confidence and believing in myself was the main thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was a fantastic question.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
Thanks,
glad you
Coach.
asked it. Yep, you're welcome. All right, so this is the end of the night, and we are gonna give away a Playmakers. I don't know if you can see it, if it's gonna focus in or not. Yeah, a Playmakers gift card for $25, and it's a random draw. So we picked a number, before the night started, and whatever number down the list you are, and you're still on this call, you are the winner. And it looks like it's Danica Levy. So Danica, you on? They're on, but they're
Yeah.
muted. Okay, they're muted right now. But so Danica will, will reach out to your coaches, and we'll make sure we get this Playmaker gift card to you. Oh, there you
You
are.
want to say hi to my coaches?
Yeah.
Say hi. Hi. Hi.
Yep. Hello, coaches.
These are my coaches I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're right outside for practice. Yep.
Bye, guys. No, you're fine. Be safe.
Okay. Well, Emberlin, have a great night tonight.
Thank you so much.
And I'll be keeping in touch, just seeing how you're doing during the season and
Of
stuff.
course.
And I know our players will want to know, and we'll give them updates and so on.
Yes.
But
Tell
yeah.
the girls thank you so much, and thank you so much. I had a great time tonight talking to everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Of course.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet y'all.
You too.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Night.
Thank y'all.
Bye, Scarlett.
Have a good night.
You too. Have a great night, girl.
Bye.
Go Eagles.
Good night.
Bye.
Yes. Go
Go
Eagles.
Bye.
All
Bye.
right. Yep. Good night.
Thank you.
I see your comment, Adeline. Thank you, guys.